When it comes to the day of any video game launch, there's a saying that in 2025, players like to optimize the fun out of the game. And while this may be true for any MMORPGs or gacha games, since Duet Night Abyss does not run a stamina system, you're actually free and in no rush to farm whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. Within the confines of the game's systems and limitations, of course. But anyway. Good morning, Burbs! My name is Azalira, and I, a person who has played Duet Night Abyss throughout all betas and playtests, have gone through the beginning of the game at least 5 times. And I'm going to be telling you the reality and expectations of what exactly I'm doing for day 1 of Duet Night Abyss's official release, which is basically 24 hours after this video is released, so let's get yappin'! Oh lord, that sounds so cringe, I'm so sorry. The first and most important thing to note here is the fact that a lot of the game's actual features are locked behind you completing the main story. For example, until you at least finish the prologue and a little bit into chapter 1, you don't even have access to your hub, which has a forge, or even access to the commissions, which allows you to farm for the character ascension materials. So while the game allows you to explore the entirety of the Ice Lake area before you even start on your main story quest, I am in the camp that it's just a better idea to do the main story or skip it if you're not interested before even doing anything else. Because another huge asset that comes with actually doing the main story quest is that you can unlock many characters immediately. Outside of your MC, the very first character that you are going to receive is Margie. Or is it Margie? Something like that. Anyways, she's a decent AoE fire type damage dealer, although she's a little bit difficult to play in the early game due to her very high sanity cost. Sanity here referring to basically like a mana pool. So I will probably bank Margie until I'm around like level 30-40s where I can start grinding the important mods that help me alleviate these problems. More on that later in the video. So the next 2 characters that you will be receiving here is probably the most spicy ones. Right after doing a little bit of the first story chapter, you will unlock this place called Sanctuary, which is going to be your main hub. There, you will immediately gain access to both Berenica and Rebecca, the queen of AFK farming. From here, I recommend that you choose one character between your MC and Berenica to play through the entire story with, and I have 2 very important reasons for this. Number 1, if you are a free-to-play player, you will not be able to farm any other characters until you are minimum at least level 40, which level 40 is very easily obtainable by completing all of the main story available from the launch of the game. Although if you're planning to spend money on the game, you can actually buy characters here and just play them throughout the main story. And the second reason here is, it's much easier to just funnel all your resources and use one single character to carry you throughout all the entire game until you finish the main story. By doing this, it saves you a lot of time and resources because you don't have to spend a lot of time farming the low level stages, but instead by just funneling all the resources, you minimize the time you spend on the lower levels and just use this one really strong character to push through and then unlock the higher level farming stages. So you can actually, well, farm more effectively because the resources are better on the higher level stages. Also, I'll explain a little bit on Rebecca later, so for now we'll go on to the next 2 characters that we unlock throughout the main story, which is Outsider and Truffle and Filbert. Outsider is actually a very interesting character. Being a character that focuses a bit more on single target, and having the ability to drain his own HP, allows him to activate a mechanic called Malaise. Malaise is simply, the lower HP you have, the higher damage you do, which complements Truffle and Filbert's kit perfectly because she is a healer, which also buffs Malaise. Now what's interesting for this is both of them are actually wind characters, and Psyche, who is also a wind character, also runs on the Malaise mechanic because her kit drains her own HP. Maybe they will run together really well as part of a Malaise wind team, huh? Makes you really think. After that, we will have access to Daphne, which is also an amazing healer character that can also buff your team. And her being one of the only few healers since the start of the game is also very valuable in and of its own. By the time that you unlock all of these characters, you will have already been done with around chapter 2 of the main story. By this point in time, you will have already been leveled up just about enough for you to do most of the things in the game, for example leveling your other characters or even start grinding for other characters. So either you can start farming all the other stuff if you really wanted to, or just finish up the story first and then go on with all the farming after, which is exactly what I'm going to do. At this point is also where I would start doing Mystic Maze, which is the roguelike game mode that allows you to unlock the last character, Lisbel. While we do not have exact details on Lisbel, I think she'll be a fun character, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And that is every single instant character unlock that we get from finishing the main story and some of the side stuff. Finishing the main story alone would probably take me around anywhere between like 10 to 12 hours depending on how much I sit around and explore, or just read all the side quests and everything. So now that the story is done and you're around level 40s, what do? This is where I would start putting all the resources into Rebecca. One of the most important things to note in Duet Night Abyss is that the commission quest that you do actually gives you a significant amount of EXP for your main active character. For an example, in this one quest that I'm doing from CBT 1, my character was level 45. Completing this one quest actually put my character to level 47. What this means is, now that you pumped your resources into Rebecca, you can start leveling up your level 1 characters by letting Rebecca AFK farm higher level stages for you. And from here it's kind of just a free for all. You can just farm whichever character you want to and level them up. And during all of this, once you start farming levels for all your other characters, don't forget to farm the demon wedges as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the wedges here, but if I recall correctly, around level 30 or 40 in the CBT, you can farm this one specific demon wedge called Typhon's Prime Serenity. As you're reading this wedge's effect on the screen, I'm just gonna be straight with all of you and just say, no joke, I personally run this on every single character and every team comp that I've ever built ever since the first closed beta. I don't know how good this is in like the absolute endgame, but if you run this on all of your characters, you are restoring an additional 20 sanity per 3 seconds. And once all of you get your hands on the game, you will kind of understand the problem with like, oh yeah, you know, I want to cast this skill, but like my sanity regen is so slow. So now imagine that's not a problem anymore. And especially that most of the characters in this game don't run on a cooldown system, but rather just if you do have enough sanity, you can cast anything. Yeah. In short, get as many copies as I can of Typhon's Prime Serenity, and then just go ham on farming my characters and leveling them up as much as possible on day 1. And that's it. That's literally my day 1 plan, because most of it is just going to be hanging out, enjoying the story, and just seeing what this world has to offer for me in terms of like reading material, side quests, music, presentation, and just the final form of the character writing and just story arcs and everything like that. And the best part about all of this is because there's no time gating, there's no stamina limits, there's nothing like that of the sort, you can actually do all of this on any day you start playing the game. It doesn't even have to be the day 1 of server opening either. But I suppose that is the beauty of Duet Night Abyss. Real talk though, I would really like to convince everyone to just take your time with the game and just enjoy it for what it has to offer. It's not a competition to rush anything, you're not pressured by any stamina system where you have to spend all your resources effectively, because for example, like if you think you're farming wrong or anything, you didn't waste the stamina system or anything, you can just farm the other stuff. So really, get out there, play how you want, discover and find out all the nuances of the game, see what modes they have to offer, and just explore and have fun. Whenever you are leveling your characters, you can just look at your resource bar and be like, oh, I need to farm this resource, and just go farm it. I think the game does a really good job at redirecting you to where to farm things, and the tutorials in the game itself are really effective and easy to understand. So that's going to be my day 1. What is yours? Are you going to start farming 1 million characters right away, or are you going to take your time and explore the world? Let me know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I genuinely hope all of you have a really good time with the release of Duet Night Abyss itself. Watch out for the grinding burnout, take care of yourselves, and don't forget to smile! I'll see you on the other side, in the world of Atlasia.